Revenge films.
Fresh out of college, I started living alone when I got a job and was enjoying that life. During college, I lived at home with my father, mother, and 2 brothers who doted on me. But precisely because of that, I talked to my parents about wanting to leave that spoiled world and live on my own strength. My worried parents initially said I didn't need to go through the trouble of living alone. If I stay here, I'll become a spoiled person. I don't want to become that kind of person. I persuaded them many times and got permission to live alone. Since I didn't hate studying from my college days and had good grades, I was able to get a job at a major company and am now working hard as a new employee. Since it's a major company, there are various departments with all types of people working, and most people treated me kindly. But there was one person, a senior named Kazuko, and I'd heard from before that this senior was a bit of a troublemaker. Still, I thought that as a new employee, I probably wouldn't interact much with her. But perhaps I caught her eye for being fawned over by everyone just for being a new employee, because Kazuko started constantly picking on me about various things. At first it was about work, pointing out small mistakes daily. Thanks to other senior employees seeing this and saying, "You don't need to say that much to a new employee," it settled down, but that apparently didn't sit well with her either, and she started looking at me with terrible eyes. No matter how I was looked at, she was still the senior. And moreover, I was a new employee equivalent to a chick, so I couldn't fight back. And I thought I'd try to avoid involvement as much as possible. However, no matter how much I tried to escape and keep my distance, the senior would approach from her side, look at my lunch, and say, "What is this lunch? You've never cooked before. It's so bad and looks really gross." And looking at my face would say, "You've got your makeup all perfect. You must have no confidence in your bare face. Oh, maybe it's plastic surgery." I'd lived at home until now, so I'd relied almost entirely on my mother, and wasn't used to it yet, so it certainly was misshapen, but it was something I'd worked hard to make in my own way. For my face, I just looked at fashion magazines and studied makeup, wanting to be like an actress I admired. I never had such malice directed at me before, and honestly, my mental health state was gradually getting exhausted. But if I told my family such things, they'd definitely tell me to come home right away, so I couldn't say it. I wasn't the only new employee who joined, so I didn't understand why she made me her target so much. But one day, other senior employees said, "She doesn't like you because you're cute and sincere, probably, because she doesn't have those things. Don't worry about it. Tell us if anything happens." They taught me while saying that. To other senior employees, I apparently appear as a sincere junior, but apparently only to Kazuko. I appear as a fake and unlikable junior, which left me with very mixed feelings. I wanted to stop her malice toward me, but the senior didn't like me whether I did anything or not, so there was nothing I could do. One day when I came to work as usual, the senior said, "I saw you yesterday." Apparently she saw me returning to my apartment. "How many decades old is that apartment? You live there? In such a shabby apartment, you definitely don't have a boyfriend." "By the way, I have one, and he's super rich, and he's an heir. When I went to play at his family's house the other day, it was amazing." She came at me with a torrent of one-upmanship the first thing in the morning. My parents said they'd contract the apartment, but I wanted rent I could definitely pay with the new employee's salary. It was a bit old, but close to the station, and everything was nearby, so I liked it. Furthermore, I didn't care at all about the senior's boyfriend. Yet the senior kept talking to me endlessly about how she'd be a winner in the future. And at the same time, she looked down on me, saying someone like me would end my life being exploited by the company for a cheap salary. Day after day like this, even my heart was about to break. Thinking that, I wanted to go home for the first time in a while and see everyone's faces. So when I went home after work, my parents and brothers were very happy, but they immediately noticed my face was downcast and asked if something happened. So I spilled all my pent-up complaints. I thought that saying such things would definitely make my overprotective parents and brothers angry. But I couldn't stop, and tears even came out. Hearing my shocking confession, my parents and brothers got angry as expected, saying, "Who the hell is that person?" At that moment, our doorbell rang with a ding-dong. My brothers went to the entrance cursing, "What? It's such an important time!" And I could hear my brother talking with the visitor. I couldn't hear clearly, but he was saying things like, "Now's not a good time," and "maybe another time." At that moment, I thought the other person's voice sounded familiar, and my heart jumped. "Hey, I just brought a gift for your parents." With an excited voice, before my brother could stop her, the person who entered... Well, my eyes widened, and to my surprise, who came into the house was... Kazuko. The senior pointed at me when she saw my face and said, "Why are you here? Don't tell me you heard about my boyfriend and investigated where he lives. Unbelievable, you stalker! Get out of this house right now!" But at that moment, my brother glared at the senior with a terrible face and said,
"This girl is my sister, though!"
At that moment, the senior's face turned pale, and she made incoherent sounds while comparing my face and my brother's many times. "Huh? But you lived in that shabby apartment, and your lunch was like that common trash lunch." The senior probably wanted to say that there's no way I could be a part of this family, when we're from a wealthy household, but I'm not living like that. But the moment the senior said that, my brother's expression became even colder.
"Oh, so you were the one harassing my sister so much!"
No, that's not right, is it? I treated you like a real little sister, right? She sought my agreement, but there was no way I could agree. And I was also shocked that my brother's girlfriend was the senior. Then the senior said, "I mean, tell me sooner." "That's right, we're going to be sisters from now on, so we can get along, right?" she said, but my brother said coldly,
"Huh? There's no way I'd have that kind of relationship with someone who drove my sister this far! Actually, can you leave? I'm breaking up with you!"
Hearing my brother's words, the senior clung to my brother with a forced smile, saying, "You're joking, right?" and immediately said to me, "Please help me." But my family wouldn't allow that. In the end, the senior left dejectedly. The next day at work, she begged me to somehow get my brother back together with her, but I had no intention of granting such a wish. Furthermore, I learned the senior had apparently been boasting to people around her that she'd marry a wealthy heir, but was dumped by my brother, and when it became known that his sister was me, she was quite ridiculed by those around her. Perhaps her pride was hurt as she couldn't even come to the company anymore, and after a while I heard through rumors that she'd resigned voluntarily. Apparently the senior had been bragging to people around her regularly, and since she'd been harassing me too, people said divine punishment had struck, and she was quite laughed at. But, well, thanks to that, my brother apologized to me for some reason, and the senior employees who always help me also showed consideration, saying that person got what she deserved, so don't worry, and I'm relieved that I'll be able to work in a more stable environment. I was happy my brother chose me without hesitation over his girlfriend, but from the senior's perspective, it must have ended like drawing the worst lot. Well, I don't intend to sympathize, though.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.